Hey, Andrew, what exactly is range of motion and why should people care?
So range of motion is a description of how well your joints position is able to move. So it's not just referring to joints, but for example, like your neck spine, your mid back, the thoracic spine, the lower back, which is the lumbar spine, your hip, your knees, your ankles, is your fingers, for example, is how much range you can move them in description. That's what range of motion means.
Should everyone be able to move the same way, or is range of motion different for each person?
In terms of the range of motion, it is tailored to individual. And however, there is a set of guidelines, or not like rules, but there are certain range that we know certain joints are able to move in a certain degree. So for example, like your neck can rotate to a certain degree, your neck can bend to a certain degree, or flexing down a certain degree. So everyone does have from a range from 0 to, for example, like 60, 90, for example, like your knees can bend to a certain degree, your arm can go to a certain degree, for example, like from here 0, 60 to 90 to almost to 160, 180. So certain range of motion that we all have the ability to do so. For example, like I can lift my arm all the way up like this to a certain of whatever that degree. Now, certain people might only be able to lift up here, then that means there's an actual joint problem inside the socket preventing them from doing that motion. Hence, their range of motion now decreased because there is something wrong inside the joint preventing them to do so.
What are the examples of healthy range of motion in different joints?
So different joints have different range of motion. So you can't say for a regular Joe, moving the arm to a certain degree up to here, like over 160, 180, they're able to do so. So that is healthy, but there's no such thing as I have to be up here to be considered healthy. You could be up here can be considered healthy. You could be up here that can still be considered healthy. There's nothing injuring to the joint by not able to move all the way up. Now, however, if you have your joints to up to here, then you're limited to do certain motion, like certain stuff. Like if I want to grab something with a cupboard, I'm not able to reach my arm this way because there's a restriction inside the joint. So certain range allows me to do certain things, but it's not harmful per se because I'm not able to do it.
When should you be concerned about your own range of motion?
You should be concerned your range of motion when you're limited to do an activity that you normally would be doing. For example, like picking up something from the floor. If you're not able to do that and the range of motion decreases, for example, like if I were to bend down for my knee, I should be able to do this range of motion because the joint allows me to bend down so I can pick up certain things. But if the joint does not allow me to bend like this, for example, or I'm not able to flex the hip joint to a certain way, then I'm not able to pick that up. Then it would be a concern for you because you are required to pick something up from the ground because that's your daily job. But for an average person, let's say they're retired, they're not really needing to do those motions anymore, it wouldn't really be a concern, but it would be a lack of motion that they're not able to do.
So is that an indication that they should see an expert, for example, like go to an osteopath like you, for example?
It would be, because if the certain range of motion you are restricted, then you are restricting blood flow as well. So the muscles that you have, for example, like the calf muscle down here is like your second heart. It acts as a pumper for the blood flow. So if your joint gets restrictive, then you're gonna get a lot of swelling in your knee. Then the muscles down here will get more heavier and then you're not able to push the fluid up as well as easier. So you might get more high blood pressure because of that main reason, and also you're going to feel quite heavy on your leg because of that reason. And the more restrictions on the joint, the more you're not able to bend the knee. It's not just as simple as just because I can't do a certain range of motion, then the joints will be okay, because there's more factors affecting the joint specifically.
Can you still improve your range of motion even if you're older or injured?
You can still improve range of motion even if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Age is not really a factor when it comes to it. To a degree, you might lose maybe 5% of the range of motion, of your true range of motion. So for example, like if you're in your 20s, you could do like over the arm over like that. then by the time you reach 70s, you might be able to do the same, but to a limitation of degree. You might not be able to do it fully, but to a certain degree, maybe 5%, 10% of a restriction that you may have.